I am going to try to take this 1966 427 big block Corvette Stingray out for a drive. This is the high output, so 425 horsepower. One of my big challenges is trying to get the audio to sound really good. So what I've mounted here on the back, it's kind of hard to see because of the angle, but I have this big kind of dead cat mic cushion, which I hope will filter the wind noise out, because I want you guys to really hear the engine without the wind noise. So let's see how it sounds. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take it for a little bit of a drive. While I'm driving, I'll talk about it a little bit. And then for maybe the last part of the drive, I'll just turn my audio off completely and let you guys just listen to the engine. So you don't need to hear me talk, just listen to that kitten purr. All right. So one of the first things I would say, sitting here in the driver's seat, the feel of the manual transmission it has such a great communication. So listen to this sound. And I've got my foot on the clutch, of course. It communicates so clearly, first, second, third, fourth, and then of course up for reverse. It's very clear which gear you're in, and it feels great, and that's something that I really like. The gauge cluster's fairly easy to read. It's not buried deep down the way it is on some other cars. It's pretty easy to see what's going on there. The tachometer and speedometer use the same size numbers, so that can be a little confusing, but otherwise the cluster is good, and it has this kind of almost like a fighter pilot kind of layout, which I really like. And even the coupes, they have the doors where the door comes up just like maybe 5-6 inches like this. So it really does sort of feel like you're in like a little fighter jet. The hood feels very long, phallic almost. It's very long. It's quite funny when you first sit down. It's like, yeah, that's right. Okay. But it's fine and easy to see. Great driving position. You're high up. Wooden steering wheel. You can hear my ring on the wood. Feels great. Blinker, awesome. Parking brake works well, which is good. I don't know that there's a whole lot more to say, but attention to detail. The knob right here, that you pull that to open and close. Of course, you can open this window. That's the most airflow you're going to get. If you open it all the way, the air will catch it. So on a hot day, you get a little bit more airflow. So I'll close that back up. We don't need that. That's going to make it more wind noise for me. Got the radio, the air, the clock, but none of that we're going to change. We've got the lights, the wiper. I guess this is a cigarette lighter. Yep. So that's convenient, I guess. And yeah, that's it. From perspective of trying to do a heel toe shift, I can tell you that this would not be easy. It's a little dark down here, but the placement of the gas pedal, the brake pedal's high up and then the gas pedal's kind of low. So doing a heel toe would be hard, but you could do a rev, brake, and then a quick rev and then back to the brakes, but that's not really ideal either. So yeah, the older Porsches are much nicer for heel toe, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. The clutch is perfect weight, not too light, not too heavy. 66 was a good year. The 63 Corvette that I have has a much heavier clutch, and it's not, I really don't like it. I don't like how heavy it is. It's a combination of a heavy clutch and then the gas pedal's also kind of tight, so it's like, it is a little bit hard to drive. All right, so with that, I think we'll get it started. Oh, one other thing that I would add is that This has the exhaust pipes out the rear. Of course, the side pipes, highly desirable. I would love to have one with side pipes, but this one, which was engine number matching, restored in great shape, with only 62,000 original miles, was a good find. And so I decided to buy this one, even though it's got the exhaust out the back. But because the exhaust pipes go out the back, they kind of heat you from the bottom up. So that's the nice thing about the convertible, is because otherwise it would be hot. In a coupe, this is a hot car to drive in the summer. But with the convertible, it's really quite nice. As I'm sitting here, 1966 Corvette Stingray. You already know that. It's 427, big block with 425 horsepower. All right, starts up, no problem. It's warm, definitely warm. Emergency brake off. So I would say this car was put together well. Not only probably originally from the factory, but I would say also, and I'll just do this for, I'll hold that one. But I would say also in its restoration. It drives well. And it's got some power. It does. You can feel it for sure. As I said, it doesn't feel as fast as, at least in my opinion, it doesn't feel as fast as the Mustang, which, you know, I don't think it is as fast. It doesn't have as many horsepower. And what's kind of interesting on this is that 3,000 RPM is straight up. So I think I often am in the habit of shifting at 2,500 RPM, because usually that's where you're at like 3,000, 4,000. But in fact, 3,000 is straight up, and then it doesn't redline until 6,500, which is like, it's not every day you've got the tachometer going like that all the way around. So I think that, for me, just it took a little getting used to, realizing that I can let it rev up a little higher than what I would maybe typically think is a good idea. The steering is tight. In contrast to some of the older cars that had power steering, sometimes the power steering kind of makes it feel a little loosey-goosey, just like really very loose in the way it feels. And that's not the case, well, this isn't power steering, but it's not the case in this car that it feels loose. It feels very tight. Even though the weight distribution in a Corvette is not fantastic, with a big block, you've got a lot of weight sitting in the front. Despite that, it actually steers really well. wheel, it feels the throws are short, first, second, third, fourth. Very easy to shift quickly. I think only thing that I would prefer about it, I wish the gas pedal, brake pedal placement was a little better for a heel to toe downshift. But, yeah, I mean, that's not the end of the world. And realistically, this isn't a track car like a Porsche or maybe a Ferrari, in my opinion. This is more of the type of car that, is kind of nice for a Saturday, Sunday cruise. And yeah, it feels good to, open it up in a straight line, but beyond that, I think it's fine that you can't do an aggressive heel-toe downshift. Gauge cluster, very easy to read, except for the little funny thing I think about the fact that you can run it all the way up to 6,000 RPM, which is like way around the corner. So we'll take it down this little street again. I'm going to go down to second gear, tap on the gas pedal. Got a little metal rattle over here somewhere. Sometimes these older cars with somewhat narrow tires don't handle bumpy roads really well. They kind of you feel like you're getting kind of pulled around the road, which isn't great when you're at high speed. Putting on a nicer set of wheels and tires would make the car handle a lot better, but would negatively impact the original status of the car. So, all right, so in second gear here, have a good grip on the wheel. You want to, because if you hit a pothole, it's going to pull the wheel, and you don't want that. So you got to hold on a little tighter than on a newer car with power steering at that same speed. Set third gear down to second, and we'll turn in here one more time. Someone greased this. My hand slipped off it. Who's been eating mozzarella cheese sticks in my Corvette? Little kick around the back. You can feel it starting to swing out, which I was expecting. I wanted to see. It wouldn't take too much to get it sideways. Again, that's a characteristic of the car. Front engine, heavy, big block, typical. Down to first. Smells like oregano. Someone's having a party. So, yeah, I don't know. Hard to, I'm just thinking about between the two cars. This one, I do drive this more than my Mustang. This one, I shut it off. Sometimes it runs backwards for a second. But I don't worry too much about it not starting. Sometimes the engine on the Mustang will flood. it gets a little hard to start, and then you feel like, uh-oh, am I going to be stranded wherever I happen to have turned it off? This one I don't feel that way with. Feels just a little more refined. The automatic choke is probably certainly part of the starting. Now it's warm, but watch, this is the time that I can't get it started. Let's give it, see, now it's hot. There we go. There it goes. So yeah, I don't know, between the two, it's hard to say which one is really more fun, but you know what? I would say this one, convertible. Because in the Mustang, when I drive that in the summer, I'm pouring sweat. And this one, top down. So, maybe a better comparison would be this versus a 1968 GT500 Shelby. Now that might be a good comparison. I'm gonna have to get myself one of those. All right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this drive in a 1966 Corvette Stingray 427, big block with a high horsepower, 425 horsepower. That was conservatively rated at that. It's probably closer to 450. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys listen to it just driving around. It looks like I'm gonna have to fill up with some gas. Can't imagine really what the gas mileage is in this. It's probably low. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the audio comes out well. With these transmitters, every now and then you might hear a little pop or a little static, but hopefully it, across the board is good and you guys enjoy it. All right, make sure you hit the thumbs up and stay tuned for the next episode here on the Tire Kickers YouTube channel.
What's up, everyone? All right, well, if you made it to the end of this video, you must also be a tire kicker just like me. So hit that subscribe button and come over to tirekickers.com to check out some articles that I've written about some of my favorite cars, including that 23 window 1961 VW bus.